All right. Hi, everyone. Happy Research Week, and welcome to Find Your Research Match presented by the ASLAPS Club. Yeah, welcome in. Everyone excited? Gonna have a fun time. Don't mind me as I go down here really quick. So this is going to be a fun little game. If you would like to participate and don't have a sheet yet, please feel free to come up here. And we have little score sheets to fill out. At the end, the person with the most points, I'll explain how you get points in a second, will win a Rituals gift card, and we'll email you within like 24 hours once we count up the points. Amazon. I'm a liar. Amazon. So how this game is going to work, we have it broken up into 3 rounds. Round 1, we have our wonderful contestants, who we will introduce in a second, answer fun little fast questions to get you kind of understanding what they might do individually for research or what center they might be a part of without directly saying what center they are in. Round 2, we're going to have them paired up into their center groups, but not tell you what center they're in yet, and they're going to answer some questions there as well. Round 3 will be open to anyone to ask any question to any professor as they would like. If you're playing along with our game, we have a little score sheet. You'll see on there it says main game. It says round 1, 2, and 3, and you have center 1 guess, center 2 guess, center 3, and 4. Basically what you're going to do is at the end of each round, we'll take about 30 seconds for you to write down who you think belongs in what center. Just to make sure that everything is nice and fair, we ask that you write in pen clearly. Anything that's crossed out, we're going to just not really count as a point. And then, yeah, once we finish, before we reveal who's where, we're going to collect your papers so that we can tally up the points eventually. And we'll reveal who's in what center. And hopefully we all have a fun time. Any questions before we start? All right. All right, so really quick before we start, I'll introduce the 4 centers. Center 1 is all about One Health and zoonosis and tropical infectious disease. Center 2 is the Integrative Mammalian Research Center. Center 3 is a center for conservation medicine and ecosystem health. And Center 4 is for veterinary education, societal resilience. And let's take a second to introduce you guys. We'll go down the line and please give us your name and what subjects you teach here.
Good afternoon, guys. I'm Dr. Segabinazi, and I teach theriogenology.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the fun times. I'm Dr. Chapwanya, and I teach theriogenology and feeding health animals.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Krista Gallagher, and I teach veterinary public health and epidemiology and some disaster management as well.
Hey, everybody. I'm Brady Little. I'm the one that always annoys you in anatomy. That's me.
Yeah, hi, everybody. I am Shobik Ghosh, and I teach something that is very viral, virology.
Good afternoon. My name is Felix Stoker. I teach immunology, virology, and a little bit of principles of veterinary research.
Hi, I'm Matthew Valentine. I teach microanatomy and pathology.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is András Nagy, and I'm a toxicologist, so I teach primary toxicology.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Nicole Herbert, and I teach part of structure and functional biology, muscle physiology to be specific.
Hi, everyone. I'm Clara Camargo, and I teach cellular physiology, physiology, and aquatic veterinary medicine.
All right, thank you all for introducing yourselves and being here. I think we are ready to begin round 1. So the first question for our contestants is describe your center in 3 words.
Fins, claws, and wings.
Multifaceted, adventurous, and integrative.
Food, well-being, and interdisciplinary.
Global field work and collaboration.
Mine will be simple. Germs Investigation Patrol.
Microscopic. The rest is
How about training, lifelong, and adaptability?
I said innovation, holistic, and evolving.
Clinical, comparative, and cutting edge.
Unraveling animal health.
All right. On to our next question. What music genre would your center be?
My center would be the Wild Horse from Rolling Stones.
It would have to be pop music, popping it all the time.
I'm going to go with new age music, some instrumental and like naturescape kind of sounds.
I think our center would be represented by classical music.
Yeah, we deal with things that rock the world, so I guess rock music.
Well, I go back to classical music, particularly the flute concerto performed by Mozart.
I think world music reflecting different cultures around the world.
Blues.
Nice, calming classical music. Reggae.
Yeah. All right, next question. What is the most scandalous thing a research subject has done?
My research subject can stitch.
My research subject has relocated without giving prior notice.
All right. So I worked in inhalation toxicology. We had substances by the inhalatory route, of course, and it's not easy. So we used some tubes in which mice and rats were placed, so they were always turning around, and so that.
I think the most scandalous thing one of my research subjects did was bit someone.
The most scandalous thing, I think, has been a mouse escaping from the cage, and then you spend the whole morning looking for it in a cluttered room.
Mine was even worse. After an inoculation study, pretended to be sick, but actually was not sick, acting all the way around, messed up all the experiments.
I think we got this one beat. Our research candidates can lie, they can cheat, they can be mischievous, and otherwise cause all kinds of malicious behavior.
I found a few of our research subjects on campus down, actually all the way down by Stairway to the Sea once.
Hands down, our subject is the best one. Escaped from captivity and got everyone not to return to estrus.
Oh, believe me, guys, my research can do so many things that I can even comment here. No, I think let's keep this. Sorry? I'm gonna show in class some things, some videos, you know, but one time I was ready to inseminate some genius, and next morning, as a research, I got here, and my Jack had done the service for me before, and I lost many astrocycles that I shouldn't have. But there are the worst things, I promise you.
Oh, how fun. All right, our next question. You've been instructed that your research must be kept a secret. What code name are you going to give it?
I don't know. Infertility.
It would have to be Buffalo Blue.
I had a tough time with this one. I think my answer is so boring. I'm going to say Operation Umbrella. There's a reason.
How about 007?
Yeah, I will say shooting D. I will not say what is D.
Well, I would call it Nimrod.
I would say Operation Kylie.
A combination of numbers and letters. Yeah, that is officially used in GRP studies.
I'd say Operation Water. Fishy.
All right, next question. You have an unlimited budget. What would you add to your current research project?
A whole new facility.
I'd say equipment for collection of samples and a facility to house them in.
Equipment for analysis, chemical analysis.
I put just another 100,000 to spend on whatever, someone to help and collect samples, and some more testing, some whole genome sequencing I would do.
Two things that I'm dreaming of at the moment. One is to complete my paper print studies for antibody profiling against Staphylococcus. And the other thing is to have a high throughput sequencing machine.
Yeah, I mean, a high throughput sequencing machine and of course state-of-the-art bioinformatics facility with a massive server.
So we get a lot of subjective data that's challenging to stick into categories, and you need numbers for data. That means you got to get your subjective data into categories so that they can be numbers, so that then you can have statistics, right? That stuff is tedious and challenging and sometimes outright impossible to do correctly. And so it would be amazing if we could figure out if AI could code all that subjective data into categories so that we could do real stats on it.
All right. I just went with some of the research that I'm involved with involves a lot of there's a lot of brainstorming, there's a lot of qualitative data. So I would just love a dedicated room that just for us that has anything we need to use on it at the time to just facilitate conversation and discussions and I don't know, just I could envision just multi monitors and just a really cool room for that. Yeah.
I would say it would have to be a global approach to omics studies, to do sequencing, to do proteomics, transcriptomics, so that we can have answers in a controlled environment where we can believe the information we get.
I just would love a herd with like 50 mares, some stallions, barns, That's it.
All right, next question. Uh-oh, a lab subject has escaped from your center. How much danger are we in?
Not much, I think.
Are we not in that much danger?
Same here, not much danger, just like as if you were in the wild. You saw them in the wild.
Not much danger, but I suppose if you had the wrong one, that one might be capable of damn near anything. Murder, arson. Yeah, it depends on the one that gets loose.
If it is inoculated and then it runs out, yeah, it can be a problem. Yeah, I mean, we can have outbreaks. It's nice to investigate outbreaks afterwards.
Yes, would be a big problem if an infected animal escaped from the lab.
Yes, it'd be something to be worried about with my research, I think.
I think we are safe.
Same here. The subjects would either move too slowly or they would be dead within 24 hours if they escaped.
Well, my subject, because it can stitch, it can poke you too.
Fair enough. All right, last question of round one. What is your research hot take?
Okay, hot take. Sometimes some subjects have to be sacrificed so you can have a better understanding of the entire population.
I don't know, because my subject comes dead, so it's inanimated.
Yeah. Sometimes our patients or our subjects will save us.
Research takes perseverance, and it doesn't always go the way you want it to go with all the high standards, and you have to roll with it. You got to run with it.
Yeah, mine is rather controversial. I think about 90% of the research being published nowadays is irreproducible.
Yeah, I mean, research requires a lot of perseverance. There is a lot of frustration, but then when you unravel the unexplored, it is fascinating. That is the greatest reward you can ever feel.
In our research center, we have the best and the brightest.
I was going to say, I'm similar to that. I was going to say, because I thought it was supposed to be something maybe a little controversial, so that's what I went with. But I would argue that our center is the foundation, could be considered the foundation for the other centers. Take that, Chappie.
We think our center is the best. It all starts with us. We don't exist, they've nothing.
I have, usually we create them, but unfortunately sometimes we have to terminate them, so.
Actually, it is, we make them, they kill them.
All right, thank you all. That concludes round one. We'll give our audience members who are participating in the game about 30 seconds to write down who you think belongs in what center. If you hit the next one, we have their names in the groups, so. Yeah, that's the point. So these are all like hidden, just so you guys know, I guess, while you're writing things down. Round 2, we have them in these groups. They're already sitting next to each other. And we have fake center names so that you guys don't fully know what center they belong to yet, but you can make your guesses assuming in like the pairs and who belongs where. No, you don't have to put down the center name. Just if you think they're in center 1, you'd put who you think is in center 1, who you think might be in center 2. Oh, I see what you mean, yeah.
Has everybody written down the parrot snail helper really quick? Just jot it down and I'll go back to the first slide. Okay, sorry. In hindsight, we realized you need the names of the actual centers too. Very good. How do I go back?
That's a great question. What if I just read them out? I think I might have them up here. All right, so center 1 is the One Health Center for Zoonosis and Tropical Infectious Disease. Give you guys a couple seconds. Center 2 is Integrative Mammalian Research Center. Center 3 is the Center for Conservation Medicine and Ecosystem Health. And then Center 4 is Veterinary Education and Societal Resilience. And we'll give you guys 10-ish seconds. God, guys, come on. All right, so we'll get started with our round 2, starting off with the Parrot Center. All right, Parrot Center, what is one feature you wish you could add to your center?
Dr. Gilbert, I would like 2 specialized technicians.
All right, next center, the Snail Center. What is your ideal location to conduct your research?
Am I taking this one? Well, St. Kitts, for me, personally, yeah.
All right, the Paw Print Center. What is one question you wish people would ask you about regarding your research?
We like to answer why it is we do what our research and why it's going to help the next generation or how it's going to help the next generation.
All right. And our Fish Center. Describe your perfect research.
The perfect research would be enough animals in a well-equipped lab with well-trained staff.
Cycling back to the Parrot Center. Oh, sorry. For our Parrot Center, as the mic is getting passed down, why do you think research is important for veterinary students to participate in?
Okay, so on the clinical side of things, there are drugs that are being administered and different things that are being suggested, right? I believe research really can help an individual understand how things get to that point. So you're collecting the data, you're generating the data, you're analyzing the data, and you're coming to certain conclusions that in turn help with the clinical side of things. So it's really important to have that connection. And in addition to that, I believe it's important to participate in research so that you can develop all sorts of skills that are transferable, critical skills, problem-solving skills, etc.
All right, our Snail Center. What are ways that students can get involved with research?
Well, there are many ways that students can join our research. We do have established pathways. The first one that comes to my mind is being a research volunteer. Simply finding a research subject that you're interested in from any of the centers, and then following the PIs and looking at what they're doing whenever they're doing whatever they're doing. The other pathway is to come in as a research assistant. Here, there's more responsibility. There's a number of hours they need to be in the lab. But then these are students who already have got an established idea of what they want to look at in terms of research. They find the PI who's doing that kind of research, and then they discuss how much and what they're going to do in that research. And then, of course, during classwork, lectures, you can talk to your teachers what they're doing about what they're teaching you. Are they doing any research? In my classes, I do tell my students about my research from time to time.
Yeah, and if I may add, and then Ross offers the fascinating opportunity for a DVM MSc. So you can actually pursue a MSc while pursuing your DVM simultaneously at Ross. And I mean, many of the residencies, they require publication, and this DVM MSc would be an excellent opportunity to, publish some papers, so that when you complete your DVM, you become more eligible for the residencies. So I would highly encourage,
Thank you. All right, Paw Print Center. What does a research assistant or research volunteer schedule look like?
Okay, schedule. I would just kind of sum it up by saying it can be flexible. So we know, all the center directors here obviously know that your priority is your DVM program. We highly encourage you to do research, so we're going to be as flexible as we can to allow you to do that when it's right for you. So yeah, I think that's just maybe the best way to say it. We work with you to see, as long as time isn't critical and something has to be done at a certain time, we try to be flexible.
Thanks. And then finally, Fish Center. What advice would you give to current vet students who are interested in research?
Whoa, that's a great question. Just look, the same thing that was previously said, like look for your professors, discuss to them possible research. Of course, everybody has some kind of interest in some topics, so find the professor, find the center that matches to your the topics that you like, and for sure you are gonna figure out and you're gonna find research that you can use for your development, to develop your skills and to get some research opportunities.
Thank you. All right, well, that concludes round 2. We'll give you guys some more time to write down your answers. Do you guys need me to read out the center names again? Yes. I'll go back. All right, as a reminder, Center 1 is One Health Center for Zoonosis and Tropical Infectious Disease. Center 2 is Integrative Mammalian Research Center. Center 3 is a Center for Conservation Medicine and Ecosystem Health. And then Center 4 is Veterinary Education and Societal Resilience. We'll give you guys a couple more seconds to finish writing down. All right, how we feeling? Everyone good? Need a few more seconds? All right, so moving on to round 3, in the spirit of research and asking questions and being inquisitive, this will be open to anyone to ask any question to any professor or center, whatever you are feeling. Just please raise your hand and I'll have my wonderful assistant come up and bring you the microphone.
And also
Hello. Okay. I guess my question is, what kind of got you guys in research? When you first started, were you actively looking to get into it, or did it just like fall in your lap? Were you like, I'm not so sure about it? Like, were you guys really excited to get into it? How did that kind of go? I guess it's for a question for all of you guys.
Take your time answering.
Well, for me, what got me on research is because I was always curious to know why. I think the ones that have been my lectures, they know that I always ask why for everything. So that's what got me there. And then after I start, it's just a ball that when you figure out one answer, you want to know the next. I think that's something that keeps me on research.
For me, it was in my DVM training. As part of our fourth and final year, we had to do a research component. It was a whole module on it, and that introduced us. And a lot of the people that took this module ended up with some aspect of research in their careers. So I just started from there, and my interest grew.
And I have a different experience with this. So I came from clinical practice, many years in clinical practice. Never thought I had any interest in research. And a lot of you know I'm a RUSVM, and back in the day, we were just a teaching institution. We had zero research. So when I came back here, I just was like you just said, Lorenzo, some why kind of questions, and got very interested in research. So just want to kind of put that out there, that this is a wonderful opportunity that you have. We never had that, in the early days of RUS. We never had any exposure to research. And who would have known, years later, just someone like me actually really partaking and enjoying research. So you just never know until you try it.
Yeah, I echo that very much. So I think when I started vet school, though it was before a lot of you were born, I definitely had no interest in research whatsoever, and I didn't even think it would affect me by graduation. And it's very quickly hit me before even, junior and senior year, your faculty will start asking you about the latest of the therapeutic module or therapeutic methods and surgical methods that are in the journals coming out every month. Okay, so then that affects you a little, but it'll never affect me again. Then you get into clinics and it affects you more. Then you go graduate and you need a new medical treatment or a new surgical approach, and it affects you more. That's just if you just become if you remain a practicing veterinarian for a long time. Then if you want internships, residency, PhDs, specialty, well, then it's every single day in academia. So I think it's been a really interesting evolution for me to say I'll never, 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 to now never a day goes by I'm not reading journals and trying to interpreting the newer information.
Yeah, I also agree with Dr. Gallagher and Dr. Little. I mean, I was aiming to be a clinician. I was very heavy into veterinary clinical medicine, and then all of a sudden I had the opportunity to participate in a summer camp on molecular biology, which was 2 months, and that changed everything. And I was very curious because those days molecular biology was just started evolving, that it would be fascinating to apply molecular biology to the study of infectious diseases in the veterinary world. And that is where and when my love affair with viruses started and continues even today.
I knew I wasn't going to be a clinician right from the 5th year of my veterinary school. I did a veterinary school which was 5.5 years long. In the 5th year, I met a professor who was a virologist, who had been a consultant for FAO in Africa. When he finished his term with FAO, he came back to lecture virology. So I started talking to him about his work in Africa, and he started telling me about viruses. From then on, I got hooked to research, and I never thought of the clinic. So immediately after I graduated, the very next day, I was working in his lab. And of course, later on, the clinic caught up with me, but in a research setting. That's how I actually got into research. I always wanted to be where I am.
Similar to Dr. Gallagher, I came from a clinical background and I needed a change from that. And there was an opportunity at RUS, and it was really about professional and personal development for me, developing new skills outside of practice. And that's really like Dr. Little said, you get opportunities to investigate new things and new areas all the time in research, because by its nature, there's always something new to work on or discover. And that's not quite the same in practice when you've been doing it a long time. So it's really stimulating like that.
All right. So in my case, my first contact with research was in the third year of vet school during my time in the pathology club. So I was a member of the pathology club, and we performed some toxicological pathology studies. And I continued for the remaining years, and then we won important grant together with a team from the medical school. So that was the basis of my PhD thesis. And here I am. That was 18 years ago, 20 years ago, and I'm still in this domain. Of course, I switched from pathology more towards toxicology, but pathology is still my first love.
Okay, so my first contact with research was when I was in undergrad. My microbiology professor was offering a project looking at compounds created by sponges that may have inhibitory effects, antimicrobial effects. So I did my final year project on that, and I absolutely loved it. And yeah, so I'm still doing research. I enjoy it.
Hi. To me, it started halfway through my DVM program. At that moment, I was working with wild species of deer in Brazil, and the wish to participate in research was to close a knowledge gap that would be readily applicable in clinics. So, for example, my first research project was collecting blood samples to build up data enough to have a reference range for the species, deer and then birds. After that, I switched from clinical pathology, mammals, to, I cannot say that, can I? Okay, to fish. And then in the aquaculture industry, there's lots of knowledge gaps, right? There's new species that people want to cultivate, and one of the bottlenecks is the production of juveniles, babies. So then I developed this love of learning how to grow babies in laboratory.
Nice, thank you all. Do we have another question? Oh, a lot more. Take your pick, Aubrey.
What's the longest time a research has gone for?
Can I answer? So in my case, I also worked in industrial research in the pharmaceutical industry. So there the longest studies were 2 year long, the carcinogenicity studies in rodents. Yeah, but some of my colleagues will also answer.
Yeah, one of my studies particularly dragging along at the moment. That's been 4 years, but another one was probably in total about 2.5 years.
I think it has been around 2 years, particularly here at Ross, because of the way our research is financed here. Sometimes you've got funds that are not enough in 1 year, so you move on to the next year. But previously, I think everything has closed in less than a year or so.
Yeah, I mean, in our case, it depends on the kind of research project. But if you are doing molecular epidemiological studies, where you are following a population with regards to infectious diseases, normally everything takes around 2 years to wrap up. Yeah.
I personally don't have a lot of long-term studies, but I'll talk about my favorite study just to give some impression that's associated with our center is, oh yeah, this is gonna give it away too. Oh well. Oh well. So this group of scientists started with some college students out of Stanford, and their idea was, let's follow these people through and measure evidence of quote-unquote success, and that has everything to do with financial success, emotional success, relationships, happiness, but like measurements of success. You know, how happy are they, satisfied in their job and in their relationship and friends. And anyway, so it started out as a 5-year project, and it's going today with these men and women who are now in their 90s, which makes the study something like 70 years old, and it's still going. So really cool stuff. And I could go on that one forever, but the cool thing about it is the idea of being happy and successful, quote unquote, has very little to do with what you probably think of straight away, like just being rich. It has way more than that. And these 90-year-olds, it'll tell you about that. Anyway, very cool study.
I'm good. I don't have. Do you have any? Okay. I think we're.
Okay. Thank you all. Next question. Raise your hand nice and high.
How difficult is it to get funding for research, like grants and things like that?
How difficult is it to get funding? Felix wants that.
Getting funding for research, let me not chase you away from research. It is tough. Here at Ross, we are lucky we are supported by the school through intramural grants. Well, these have also become competitive nowadays. You have to write them well, justify them well in order to get the funding. But if you're going to get funding outside, there is a lot of competition. Your idea has to be really a bright idea, one which stands out. There are, I think, so many grants chasing just a few dollars. So if you want to get those dollars, your work has to be exemplary. So it is not an easy thing to get funding for research.
All right, next question, if you guys are all good. Nice and high.
I'll go down, I'll go back up. It is turned on.
I just want to preface that I'm not an official participant in this, but I wanted to ask this question to help the audience put you guys into your research centers. What is the title of your most recent publication? If this applies to like multiple of you, because you're multiple authors on the same publication, you can just mention that once. But if we can like go down the line with recent titles of publications.
Yeah, okay, I can get started. The last paper we published was detection and molecular characterization of beta herpes viruses in bats in the Caribbean, and evidence for cross-species transmission of herpes viruses between bats. So that was the last paper we published. Yeah.
The last work that I published is, well, it's entitled 55 Years of Tropical Animal Medicine and Reproduction and Its Challenges.
I think it was ill thrifting a 3-week-old kitten. I think that's what it was.
sorry, I had to search on Google Academics. So my last paper was chronic copper bilizonate poisoning in Texas sheep. So it's a clinical toxicology case report. It's not basic research.
And mine is nematopsis in nearite gastropods from St. Kitts, with a phylogenetic study of the genus and placement within the phylum Apicomplexa.
Mine is on draft because I'm newbie to the research team at RUS, but it's called something like a new mixozoan called Sigmomixa brasiliensis in the gallbladder of the Hemianthus brasiliensis fish, which is a needlefish, and that's why it can stitch you and poke you.
So, yep. So my latest paper is actually in just some anatomy stuff, but that's not particularly in my center. The last paper that we published for the center was associating students' stress level and its decrease over time with a correlation to the environmental exposure to nature without computers. In other words, go out and spend some time in nature, your cortisol goes down, stress goes down. Seems simple, but hadn't been proven.
And then the very latest, it's coming out, I believe, in December, is, I forget the exact title too, and I didn't search it, but it's the 2000, look at the 2017 hurricanes from the St. Kitts, I guess, the St. Kitts perspective, and we said a small island perspective, so that's what we looked at.
The last one in the sender would be, I think, just came out today, but for me as an author, the latest publication will be Unraveling Microbial Populations in the Endometrium of Cattle.
I don't remember exactly the title, but I think it was like testicular Doppler parameters in stallions with and without 180 testicular torsion. Something like that.
Thank you. Any more questions? Your steps in, huh?
Okay, so my question is, was there any results that surprised you or went against your initial hypothesis?
So thanks for that question. It's one I was trying to fit in the answer into it. The most surprising thing that we had is there was always an assumption that when pregnant, the uterus is always sterile. So the latest results are now showing us that there are microbial populations in there, so that was quite a surprise when we were able to go into a pregnant uterus and then sample and do microbial measurements.
Does anyone else want to?
Yeah, I mean, one that actually made me jump out of joy was we characterized a human rotavirus, which causes diarrhea, from a child in Africa, and surprisingly it turned out to be like a simian rotavirus, and this happened to be the first report of interspecies transmission of rotavirus from wildlife to human. So that was fantastic.
I have two. The disappointing one is we put some samples, some bacterial isolates for sequencing. We were expecting to get one type of bacteria, but we got something completely different. We were expecting to sequence Capnocytophaga, but we sequenced Moraxella phyllis. They were all from the cat. That was unexpected. It was unexpected because our initial screening was pointing us to the direction of capnocytophaga. Okay? And I want to tie in the irreproducibility of research, because to screen for capnocytophaga, we use primers that were published earlier to detect the 16S RNA of capnocytophaga. So those primers were amplifying something that doesn't belong to capnocytophaga, but to Moraxella felis. So that's one thing. The other thing is interesting. We had collected samples from dogs looking for Staphylococcus pseudointermedius, but we found 2 dogs on the island from which we isolated Staphylococcus delphini found in aquatic animals, which is quite strange. So we don't know. We need to track the owners to see whether those dogs frequent the waters where eventually they could have got that infection.
All right. Any more questions?
What's your favorite research project you've done, I guess, ever in the time that you've been doing everything? Just in general.
My most interesting thing was to find out that actually the so-called T-regulated T cells do not only regulate autoreactive T cells, they also regulate T cell responses against microbial antigens.
Yeah, I mean, although I'm extremely interested working on viruses in companion animals, livestock, and humans, but I am very much excited when I'm looking into viruses in wildlife because they always come up with great surprises, you know? So that is very fascinating. It's like an adventure.
So my most engaging research and what I really enjoyed at the time was part of my PhD, and it was working on the monkey problem that we have here in St. Kitts. And the reason that I really enjoyed this work is because it was primarily community-based work. So I went out, met many different groups, and it was just really incredible to sit down with them, ask them lots and lots of questions and lots of probing, and hear their perspective, and to realize that everybody sees something a little bit differently. I love that my colleagues love laboratory-based research. It was just not for me. I like to be in the field and do field-based things and community things, and so that was my favorite.
I have a question that I really want to answer. Since I got here, even before when I was in Brazil working with donkeys, that's why Jennies don't get pregnant with cryopreserved semen, and I hope I will be able to answer this one day. I've been trying for the last 5 years. I couldn't get the answer yet, but that drives my goal for research right now.
For me, I think it's discovering that the uterus is an immune organ. So maybe that's where your answer lies. You're not asking the right question to the uterus.
Anybody else? Yes.
Yeah, so my favorite project research was characterizing hepatic myofibroblasts in chronic liver disease and studying vascular remodeling in chronic liver disease. So that was a part of my PhD thesis, and I spent three and a half years studying these topics.
My favorite research hasn't started yet, but writing a project to test different essential oils to anesthetize fish and check if it's produced analgesia as well. Look out for that because it will come soon.
Nice.
My favorite part of research was being around St. Kitts, around the whole island, a bit like Dr. Gallagher, but I was trapping mosquitoes in remote areas and monkeys. So it was great to really find some of the lesser known spots on the island. I saw some great views and things.
Yeah, please. This is a little odd, but I think it might help some people. The reason it's odd is because it doesn't have anything to do with my center, but I moved here and fell in love with the ocean and started learning about these lionfish, and then started hunting the lionfish, and just for my own eating and family eating, and they're delicious, and I was doing a good thing for the reef. Well, then I thought, well, there's all this tissue, might as well do something with it. If I'm gonna shoot these fish and we're eating them, it might as well just do something, and ended up finding some really neat biologic characteristics about their reproduction and how fast they can reproduce and how much they can reproduce and how much they can eat in a short amount of time, how fast they can grow. Anyway, all that's neat. The point I want to get to is that you might think that research isn't for you, just like I wasn't interested whatsoever in how lionfish grow, but one passion leads to questions, questions lead to wanting to know, and it can be that way for you guys too. You don't have to have a career in research to be able to dabble in it like I did in that. It was a lot of fun, and I even, believe it or not, got a little grant for my scuba tanks, right? And so I even got to do this fun stuff for free and a name on a paper. So how cool is that?
All right, thank you guys. I think we have time for one more question.
You got your hand raised, right? Okay. I'm sorry, I have the eyesight of a goldfish, so.
My question is partially a two-part. Number one, Dr. Nagy, since 4 to 5 of us came here in one-year class, we would like some extra credit on the block coming up. That would be really nice. And then for me, my specific interest is pigs, if you know me at all, and nutrition. Do any of you have plans to do either of those in the upcoming 2 semesters I have left?
About pigs, we will discuss next week about some diseases that affects pigs, toxicosis, and they are feed-related problems. So, nutrition component.
So this is very timely for you. Were you speaking with Dr. Melanie Lin? If you were not, please send me an email. Only yesterday, she was talking about nutritional studies, and one of the areas she's looking to look at will be comparative between equids and swine. So there's an opportunity coming up.
Just saying that toxicology in pigs and nutrition all affect reproduction. Just saying.
All right, well, thank you guys. That concludes round 3. So we'll give our contestants who are still playing about 30 seconds to finish writing down their final answers. Well, I'm gonna have my wonderful assistants come around and collect the paper before we reveal who's where. And then hopefully we'll be able to tally up within like the next 30-ish minutes who the winner is. All right, has everyone who's participating in our game submitted their sheet? All right, I think we are ready to reveal. So go ahead and click that. Once again, we have our centers here. Center 1 is our snail center. Center 2 is the fish center. Center 3 is the parrot center. And center 4 is the paw print center. So hopefully you're feeling good. We're going to tally up the points now and hopefully get you guys a winner. But can I have our center director stand up and come up front and just a little bit better than what I did? So yeah, just introduce yourself again and what center you're a part of and just a good explanation of what you guys do. That's fine.
All right. Good afternoon again, everyone. Thank you very much for coming on to this event. It's been fun. It's different to see it from a different perspective. Who knew research could be that fun? Now that we know, we can look up what all the other centers do and decide what center you want to be in. We are the center, Center 2, Integrative Mammalian Research. So this center is for comparative studies, clinical studies, and mechanisms of disease. We also do a lot of nutritional work and collaborations with other centers. So if you are thinking of a research question, we probably will be the center to come to, or we will know someone to direct you to. Thank you.
Okay, and thank you. This was a lot of fun, and thank you all for being here. So I head up Center 4, which is the Center for Veterinary Education and Societal Resilience. We actually just went through a little bit of a rebranding, so there will be things coming out. You'll see that soon. But our center, I feel like I think of it as having two separate research areas. The first one is the veterinary education part. So we're focused on anything that helps us teach and students learn. And even thinking of things like emerging technologies, including AI and big data. So that's kind of the one aspect of the center. And then secondary to that, maybe you're wondering where the societal resilience part comes into that. And it really, I envisioned it as kind of speaking to the veterinarian's contribution to society, to all the things that we do. So it kind of would capture shared population health, human-animal bond, human-animal interactions, disaster management, what's another one? And veterinary professional mental health also would fit under that. So that's kind of what we cover.
Okay, hi again, everyone. Representing Center 3, Conservation Medicine and Ecosystem Health. Dr. Freeman is not on the island, so he asked me to stand in for him, and I hope I do the explanation justice. Basically, the Caribbean is a biodiversity hotspot, which makes it very, very perfect for conservation medicine and research on conservation medicine and looking at the ecosystem and making sure that we're able to maintain the health of that ecosystem is very important. So looking at different organisms that are important, such as turtles. Many of you already know Dr. Stewart, who heads the turtle research and the conservation of several species of turtles that pass through St. Kitts and Nevis and even beyond these shores. I personally have done work on lobsters, for example, and looking at being able to make sure that we have sustainable fisheries, making sure that the species is, well taken care of so that we can fish for years to come. So those are just two examples, but there are many, many more, both terrestrial and marine.
Thank you, Nicole. So I'm representing now Center 1, that is the One Health Center on Zoonosis and Tropical Infectious Diseases. So as the name indicates, we are infectious and we infect everybody and they come and join our research group. So we encourage all of you to get infected and enjoy the research we perform, which is very important given the current scenario. So we primarily work on infectious agents, any aspect of infectious diseases that are caused by bacteria, viruses, and parasite. We focus on antimicrobial resistance and anti-parasitic drug resistance. We are extremely keen on solving puzzles that are related to zoonosis and reverse zoonosis. And we are also interested in any aspect of public health. So if you want to get infected with the fascinated research we are conducting, we'd be more than happy to infect you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I think we have poster contest winners that we're going to announce as well.
Is that one? Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you to Ashley, to Aubrey, and the ASLAP Club, and all of our participants here. Fabulous. Really highlighting the research under the different research centres. Thank you to everyone who joined us for our 3-minute thesis earlier today. What we're going to do now is announce the winners for our posters, our student poster and research posters and infographics. So, go and hit that, go down for me. Okay, so for the student posters, these are the prizes. This year we are fortunate to be sponsored by Farm Impex for our posters and infographics. So let's hit the next slide. So in third place, Lady Thomasina Helena for the FCC cat cell line. This lady here, anyone from that? Come on up. Congratulations, good job. Yeah, come on in here. Oh. Thank you. Great job. Thank you. Okay. Second place, Avery, Morgan, Nicole, and the crew. And the winner, Isabella. Okay, now for our infographics. Runner-up, Nicholas. Well done, Nicholas. And lastly, not least, our winner, Thea. Come on, Thea. So both Nicholas and Thea are from our One Health online, our Masters in One Health online program. And you'll hear more from our second year students tomorrow at 12 o'clock in the Don Smith. So do come on over for that. But congratulations, Thea. Well done. Well done, guys.
Thank you, thank you. I just wanted to make a few comments. First, congratulations, thank you to the organizers for this evening. Special thanks to ASLAP and the IT crew and everybody who's supported and organized this evening. I wanted to make a couple of more general comments as well and commend all the student participants and the faculty advisors and for the display of energy, curiosity, and commitment that I saw in browsing the posters and speaking to you and coaxing some difficult questions out of you and really enjoyed interacting with you. So congrats and well done. I also want to say that I fervently believe in education in an environment of discovery, that it enriches the education in many ways. But one way that's unmistakable, those of you who are here are participants in research, and that's fantastic, but every one of you will be a consumer of research, especially in our age of misinformation. It's really critical. Remember, we talk often about practice-ready graduates, but what we really need to think about is you guys need to practice in 2075, right? 2025 and 2027 is not going to cut it. And the only way you're going to be practice-worthy in 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now is if you are astute, critical, thoughtful consumers of research. Even if you're not actually producing it, you're going to have to be in some way, researchers intellectually. So thanks, congratulations to everybody. It's been a great week, and just a final reminder for tomorrow's last session at noon for the One Health students. Thanks all, congratulations.
All right, so finally to wrap up, thank you all for coming. We do have two winners. So Caitlin D and Alex C, you guys will win a $25 Amazon gift card. We will get that to you at some point. Thank you all for coming. Hopefully you guys are enjoying your research week, and hopefully you enjoyed this event. And thank you to our wonderful guests and the Research Center. Let's give them all a big round of applause.
Oh, she's not, okay.
Okay, tell them not to leave.
Oh, look. Can we just hold on for one second? Well, they could come forward for a photo on the stage. How's that? Can our fabulous participants just come forward for a photo? I know, it's all right, it's there, it's coming. They're hungry. And you all get a little thank you present.